Welcome back, everyone, to Gamer Girls Radio.
Woo! So good to be back and chatting game.
Oh my gosh, it is seriously warm in here today, right?
I've had it. I feel like I'm gonna melt. Keep expecting like a huge rainstorm any second with all this humidity.
Yeah, maybe it'll cool things down. Well, while we wait for that potential downpour, we've got some really cool gaming news. And speaking of cool, you have to check out the awesome gamer stuff over at thepingcontroller.com.
Oh, seriously. They've got, like, everything. Go look after the show. You won't regret it.
Definitely. And before we get into the news, quick reminder, hit that like button. Please drop us a comment and definitely subscribe so you don't miss out.
Okay, let's do it. What's the latest buzz?
All right, so we've been looking into the driving survival game Pacific Drive, you know, the one with the, like, super weird setting, and they just dropped a big update called Endless Expeditions.
Yeah, we wanted to kind of sift through all the details and figure out, what this actually means for people playing the game or maybe thinking about jumping in.
Okay, so for anyone who maybe hasn't heard of it, Pacific Drive puts you in this alternate Pacific Northwest, the Olympic Exclusion Zone.
Yeah.
And things there are, well, they're really messed up, supernatural, weird science gone wrong, that kind of vibe.
Right, and the core thing really is your car. It's not just like transport, it's your base, your shield. You're always working on it, upgrading it. It's essential to survive the zone.
And survival isn't easy because the hazards aren't just, bad roads. We're talking anomalies, these like bizarre, totally unpredictable things that mess with your car, mess with physics.
Yeah, like shadows moving where they shouldn't or the ground just suddenly erupting into pillars. It's wild.
Ooh.
And that unknown factor is huge. Every trip out there, it's procedurally generated, so you never really know what you're driving into. That's a big part of why people like it, I think. Plus, you've got zone storms.
Oh yeah, the storm.
Massive destructive things. They force you to make these snap decisions like, do I risk grabbing more stuff or just slam the pedal and try to escape?
Intense.
Yeah.
Okay, so the game did pretty well at launch, right? Like 1 million copies sold. But this Endless Expeditions update, that's the new hotness. What's the main idea there?
So it's really focused on making the game more replayable and also adding some quality of life stuff people wanted. The expeditions are the big thing. It adds this kind of roguelite structure. You start at the garage, but each run, each expedition has different challenges, goals, maybe restrictions. It changes every time.
Oh, okay. So perfect for that just one more run feeling. Sounds like it adds a lot, especially as the difficulty ramps up.
Absolutely. It gives you new ways to see the world, new scenarios. It's not just the main story anymore.
And, speaking of quality of life, the Suspend feature, that sounds amazing. Not everyone has, like, hours for one sitting.
Oh, it's huge. A really big improvement. Before, you had to reach, like, specific save points. Now, pretty much save and quit whenever. You jump right back in where you left off. Much easier to fit into, a busy life.
That makes a huge difference. Looks like they also tweaked some tools, like the plasma scrapper and thermal vacuum.
Yeah, it might seem small, but those upgrades can really smooth out the gameplay. Makes gathering resources less of a chore, more efficient.
Nice. And music, always important for atmosphere. They added, 21 new tracks to the radio? Plus another soundtrack on Spotify.
Yeah, the music in Pacific Drive is already really good at setting the mood, and more variety is always welcome. Makes those long drives through the weirdness feel even more immersive.
Okay, and there's a new character, Ida.
Huh.
Runs an exchange or something.
Right, you can apparently run into her out on your expeditions. You can trade scrap metal you find for, like, useful parts, cosmetic stuff, resources. It's another way to get things you need without having to drive all the way back to the garage.
That's another decision point when you're out there. Like, is this scrap worth trading now, or should I hold on to it?
Exactly. Adds a bit more strategy to your runs.
And garage cosmetics. You can find them or trade for them. Got to make your apocalyptic safe house look good, right?
Yeah, exactly. People love customization. It helps you feel more connected to the game, gives you little goals besides just surviving.
It's just cool to see them building on the game like this. Really seems like they're listening to the players.
For sure. That kind of support after launch, it's so important, especially for a game that's, kind of out there with its concept.
So for anyone listening, if that whole idea of a survival game, but centered on your car in this super strange place, if that ever sounded interesting, maybe now's an even better time to check it out with this update.
I'd say so. The expeditions add tons of replay value. The Suspend feature makes it way more accessible. Plus all the other tweaks, it just makes the whole package stronger, more engaging.
And got some awards nods too, right? BAFTA and Nebula Awards. Definitely says something about the quality.
Yeah, best debut, best game rating nominations. It shows there's a really solid game under all that weirdness and survival stuff.
Okay, thinking about it. This whole focus on the car, making it almost like another character you have to care for while dealing with this bizarre world. What do you think is the most unique thing about Pacific Drive? What really makes it stand out?
That's a good question, I think. I think it's how it mixes the totally normal with the completely strange. Like driving a car, fixing it up, that's normal stuff, right? But doing it while dealing with these reality-bending anomalies in a landscape that's actively hostile,
Yeah.
that contrast is really powerful. It's uncanny.
Yeah. Like your trusty old station wagon is this piece of predictable machinery in a world that makes no sense. You're like checking the oil while some floating rocks drift by. That tension is super interesting.
Exactly that. And because every trip is different, you're always learning, adapting. You're not just reacting to threats. You're trying to figure out the weird rules of the zone itself.
So yeah, anyone looking for survival but wants something different, atmospheric, with a really unique hook. Pacific Drive, especially with the Endless Expeditions update, sounds like it's definitely worth a look.
Totally agree. It's a fresh take on the genre, and it looks like the developers are really committed to it.
Wow, so much for a quick update. Pacific Drive sounds absolutely wild with those expeditions and being able to save mid-adventure.
Right. I'm already picturing myself white-knuckling it through a zone storm in my souped-up station wagon. What about you? You tempted?
Oh, it definitely got my attention. And all those new songs for the in-game radio sounds like the perfect soundtrack for some surreal road trips.
And hey, don't forget you can grab Pacific Drive at a sweet 40% off on Steam right now. That's until April 15th. And it's also on sale on PlayStation until April 23rd.
Awesome deal. And huge thanks again to the Pink Controller for sponsoring Gamer Girls Radio. Seriously, go check out their awesome gear at thepinkcontroller.com.
Yes. And thank you all for hanging out with us today. Until next time, happy gaming.